Good morning, you're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Donald Trump said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy wants to sit down with Russia at the negotiating table. Last evening, while signing executive orders, the new U.S. president said he doesn't know whether Vladimir Putin has similar intentions.
Zelenskyy wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does. He might not. I don't know. He should make a deal. I think he's destroying Russia by not making a deal. I think Russia's going to be in big trouble.
The new U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has previously warned that both sides in the conflict will have to make concessions to achieve lasting peace. Trump also told reporters in the White House that Russia should never have started the conflict. Donald Trump has begun his second term as U.S. president by signing a draft of executive orders on major policy issues. These include withdrawing the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement and World Health Organization, pardoning nearly all of the 1,500 people convicted for the January 6th riots, and declaring a state of emergency on their country's southern border.
What is this one?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but, you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutations?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Trump has temporarily suspended all U.S. foreign assistance programs while they are reviewed and reversed several orders issued by Joe Biden on immigration. In total, the new president signed more than 20 executive orders. The directives also covered key campaign areas such as allowing oil drilling in the Arctic, labeling drug cartels as terrorist organizations, and returning asylum seekers to Mexico.
We're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in. You know, European Union charges us, they have a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff. And they're tough. They're very tough. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their cars, or we take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, you know, we have like a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil.
Trump has also signed off an order that seeks to withhold U.S. citizenship from the children of undocumented immigrants born in the United States. Among other policy initiatives was a temporary reprieve for TikTok, which can operate for 75 days. He said on Sunday he had changed his mind about the social media app after it helped him win over young voters.
And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make that determination. And we may have to get an approval from China, too. I'm not sure. But I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, it would be somewhat of a hostile act, I think.
The former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs and former U.S. Ambassador to Poland, Daniel Fried, says Trump's team is becoming more realistic about the war in Ukraine. According to Fried, it's a good sign that Ukraine was not mentioned in the new president's inaugural address.
He did support the Republicans voting to resume military assistance to Ukraine. And many people on his team are talking about a peace through strength solution for Ukraine. That is a ceasefire roughly along the lines of the current front lines, plus security for Ukraine. Now, that could be a pretty decent solution for Ukraine if we're serious about its security. So we will see what the Trump people want to do. But the fact that he didn't mention it in the inaugural might be a blessing, because had he mentioned it at all, he might have said things which would not advance European or Ukrainian security. So let's hope his team is working at this.
Daniela Schwarzer, a board member with the Bertelsmann Stiftung, said in an interview with TVP World that U.S. President Donald Trump might continue to be coherent on his electoral promises in the field of defense. She also argued that NATO members might take more to the example of Poland due to the changes in their threat perceptions.
Another issue is, of course, defense, and that's where Donald Trump will put pressure on Germany. We have now reached 2% of defense spending to GDP. He has already said he wants 5%. I don't think we'll go there, but we will have to increase our defense spending, not because of Donald Trump, but because the European allies within NATO need to do more for European defense. Poland is showing the example. Defense spending, important things have happened in our domestic debate, because for decades, in the German society, there was no threat perception, because people understood, in particular after the wall came down after 1989, that we were living in peaceful times with the enlargement of the European Union, our neighbor Poland coming into the EU, and security risks seemed very far away. And this was distinctly different to the perception in the Baltic states and Poland and other Central and Eastern European countries, in particular after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014.
Right.
But now this is slowly changing. Our government has said many things that have conveyed that message that we have to worry about our security, not only in Germany, but on a continental scale.
Indeed.
So people are getting used to the understanding that more must be spent on defense.
Donald Trump's return to the White House spells uncertainty for most of America's allies in Europe. Let's take a look back at Polish-American relations during his first term in office.
Donald Trump first visited Poland as the U.S. president half a year into his presidency, in July 2017.
We're working with Poland in response to Russia's actions and destabilizing behavior. And we're grateful for the example Poland has set for every member of the NATO alliance by being one of the few nations that actually meets its financial obligations.
Defense spending was one of the defining issues of Trump's relations with Europe during his first term. And Poland's continuous commitment to spend above NATO's minimum requirements had a positive influence on Trump's stance towards Poland.
Thank you very much.
Poland and the US signed several security agreements during the Trump presidency, significantly increasing the number of American soldiers stationed in Poland. There are approximately 10,000 US troops in Poland as of 2025.
As stated in the joint declaration, the United States and Poland continue to enhance our security cooperation.
Conservative Polish President Andrzej Duda maintained a good relationship with Trump in the last 4 years, and even planned to attend an event in Pennsylvania alongside Trump during the presidential campaign, although the meeting did not take place in the end.
Well, we have great respect for the country, and we have great respect for the president. As you know, we've had a very good and personal relationship. Never had even a problem, not even a minor problem.
Duda's second term in office will end in May, and the political affiliation of his successor will likely have an impact on the future Poland-US relations. Historically, Trump has had a good relationship with conservative leaders, well to the right of the centrist coalition currently governing Poland. Contrary to Duda, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk cannot boast a strong relationship with the incoming US president. The two butted heads over several issues during Tusk's term as president of the European Council.
Looking at the latest decisions of President Trump, someone could even think, with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Tusk has nonetheless congratulated Trump on his electoral victory in November. Outgoing U.S. Ambassador to Poland Mark Brzezinski highlighted the strength of Polish-American ties amid the ongoing war in Ukraine and called Trump a friend to Poland.
We want the next US president to be successful, no matter who it is. I can assure you that the close friendship between Poland and the United States will continue. Both Vice President Harris and former President Trump visited Poland and have great things to say about Poles. And they both agree that Poland plays an important role in ensuring the security and prosperity of Europe.
Both Poland and the US hold strategic interest in maintaining a strong bilateral relationship.
Today, the EU's economy and finance ministers have gathered in Brussels for the Economic and Financial Affairs Council, or ECOFIN. It's the first such meeting during the current Polish presidency of the Council of the European Union. According to Warsaw's finance minister, Andrzej Domański, Poland's term will focus on aiding Ukraine and slashing regulations in the EU.
Today is the first ECOFIN during Polish presidency, and the agenda of this meeting is pretty packed. We'll have the discussion about macroeconomic situation in Ukraine, and we'll have also Commissioner Dombrovskis presenting his ideas about simplification of European law. I've asked ministers of finance also to bring a very specific examples of what can be done, what can be achieved in the field of simplification of the European law. For all of us, it's absolutely crystal clear that the burden of regulation over European companies is huge, and it's making it difficult to develop business in Europe.
Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk will on Wednesday address the European Parliament to share the priorities of Poland's presidency of the European Council. Tusk will propose strengthening European security in energy, food, health, along its borders, economically and in the information space. The MEPs are due to debate Tusk's policy initiatives during a 2-hour morning session. Tusk will then visit Oslo, where he will talk with the Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre. The two leaders are due to discuss security issues, deepening relations between Europe and the US, and greater cooperation between Poland and Norway on energy and climate policy. While the eyes and ears of the world were on the inaugural speech of U.S. President Donald Trump, Ukrainians watched with their fingers crossed, hoping for any sign of support for their country. In Switzerland, Day 2 of the World Economic Forum is underway. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is due to address political leaders and business figures gathered in the mountain resort of Davos. Other leaders speaking today include President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Polish President Andrzej Duda is also in attendance. The delegates are due to discuss how to tap the potential of artificial intelligence and the use of energy and materials. And with that, we end our service, but please do stay tuned here on TVP World. We're back in just a moment with more news and features.